Some human minds seem not to belong to the planet we call Earth. John von Neumann is celebrated as the father of modern computer architecture and the cold, incisive intellect behind the Manhattan Project. His intellectual genius towered far beyond the limits of his era, yet in his final years he sank deep into overwhelming fear of existential nothingness and endless shadow. Tonight, beneath the faint gentle glow of flickering flames, we step into the real life of this extraordinary mind, often regarded as an alien intellect walking among ordinary humans. If the ultimate pursuit of pure reason inevitably leans toward icy detachment, then the life of John von Neumann stands as the most flawless game of logic ever lived. He stood face to face with the rising smoke and tension of the Cold War, using mathematical formulas to simulate and calculate the very survival or destruction of human civilization. Yet at the final threshold of life he became like a vulnerable child, searching desperately for spiritual redemption that no logical equation could ever explain or define. Close your eyes, drift back to that dust-laden turbulent age and listen to the profound life story of this unparalleled genius. He was a rare prodigy, capable of cracking jokes in casual conversation while mentally solving extremely complex physical calculations in an instant. John von Neumann wandered along the quiet paths of Princeton, contemplating cosmic forces powerful enough to bring human civilization to ruin in a single moment. Yet he was never merely a cold, calculating machine of logic. He remained a lonely, wandering soul, striving tirelessly to find stable order amid the chaos of a turbulent world. Tonight, nestled within this soft, unrushed story meant only for quiet remembrance, may you drift peacefully into slumber amid the lingering resonance of eternal truth and profound wisdom. Picture the cold days of February 1957 at Walter Reed Army Medical Center in Washington. Lying weak and tormented in a hospital bed was a man acknowledged across the globe as the sharpest intellectual mind alive. His name was John von Neumann. Tonight, accompanied by the softly flickering glow of the hearth fire, we walk fully into the untold life of this remarkable soul. Through this tranquil tale meant only for quiet reflection, he was the kind of genius who could craft witty remarks at social gatherings while casually deriving complete frameworks of game theory without effort. People even half-jokingly suspected he was an otherworldly intellect concealed within a human form. Yet this towering figure, who precisely calculated the detonation altitude of atomic bombs and laid down the foundational structure of modern computer design, was eventually shattered by raw primal fear. In his final days he could not bear staying alone in the dark hospital room, insisting that nurses keep the lights burning all through the night, for his rational mind could never prove what lay beyond death or ease the terror of eternal emptiness. The staggering peak of his intellectual power standing against the fragile weakness of his soul forms a haunting, profound paradox. This is the final lingering puzzle left behind by this great mind. Turn back the pages of time to the year 1945 and the desolate desert lands of New Mexico, where a towering mushroom cloud rose silently toward the sky. Among the group of physicists worn down mentally and emotionally by the weight of their creation, John von Neumann remained unervingly calm, almost chillingly detached from the gravity of the moment. He stood as a core, vital member of the Manhattan Project when Oppenheimer whispered the haunting words, "I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." Von Neumann focused entirely on precise mathematical calculation, working out how to maximize destructive power through implosion mechanics. To his way of thinking, the world was never a warm, sentimental paradise, but an enormous chessboard governed strictly by logical rules, strategic balance, and constant competition. He was not devoid of moral weight or inner sorrow, yet he firmly believed that within a world driven mad by war and ambition, the only path to self-preservation was to stay colder, sharper, and more mathematically precise than any enemy standing against humanity. Seated comfortably in his Princeton office, he would bite into a simple sandwich while sketching the complete logical blueprint of electronic computer architecture on ordinary paper napkins. At a time when humanity still relied on ancient abacuses and bulky hand-cranked calculating machines, he already foresaw the coming future, ruled by silicon chips, digital logic, and automated computation. This extraordinary power of foresight earned him a place among the most trusted advisors of political power, yet also drew him inevitably into the cold, ruthless whirlwind of Cold War tension and global rivalry. He became one of the founding thinkers behind modern Cold War strategic logic, his theory of mutually assured destruction hanging over human civilization like an unyielding sword of Damocles for more than half a century, shaping every layer of international confrontation and fragile peace for generations to come. If you observe John von Neumann closely, you will find he was never the stereotypical dull, secluded scholar absorbed only in abstract equations. He loved lively social parties, fine-tailored suits, and the pleasures of worldly life. In the 1930s, within the academic community of Princeton, he often drove luxury sports cars, hosted lively gatherings, and played loud music on his phonograph late into the evening, much to the quiet annoyance of his neighbor Albert Einstein. Beneath this easygoing Worldly enthusiasm lay a nearly obsessive inner craving for perfect stable order. Born and raised as a Jewish child amid the political unrest and chaos of Hungary, he understood all too well what social turmoil truly meant. It brought displacement, loss, the collapse of rational order, and the destruction of all stable certainty. This drove him to devote himself wholeheartedly to mathematics, for mathematical truth is eternal, unchanging, untouched by political shifts, warring regimes, or human prejudice. His almost miraculous gift for instantaneous complex calculation was in truth a form of psychological self-defense. He sought to convert every uncertain variable in life into predictable, controllable patterns through pure logical formula. On one occasion, a colleague, hoping to test his legendary mental ability, handed him an extremely intricate advanced integral problem. Von Neumann simply closed his eyes for a brief moment and delivered the correct answer within seconds. When his colleague jokingly asked if he had used some hidden mathematical shortcut, he smiled gently and replied, "I simply see the answer directly, just as you instantly see that an apple is red." Yet this innate gift of perceiving answers without effort also filled him with deep, quiet pessimism toward the future of human civilization. If cold, unyielding logic proves that self-destruction is an inevitable path for humanity, how should ordinary people endure and find meaning within such a destined fate? By the 1950s, John von Neumann had risen to become the most vital scientific consultant to the United States government. A single word from him capable of steering billions of dollars of national research investment and shaping the direction of technological progress for decades ahead. Yet at the very height of his career and influence, death arrived unexpectedly in the most bitterly ironic form: terminal cancer. Many speculated that his illness stemmed from prolonged radiation exposure. During his direct on-site observation of nuclear tests at Bikini Atoll, as the flawless network of neurons inside his brilliant mind began to decay and fail, as the alien-like intellect he possessed slowly dulled, even struggling with simple basic arithmetic, von Neumann broke completely under the weight of despair. It was a moment of piercing heartache. A man who had worshipped rationality as his lifelong anchor, forced to watch his own sharp intellect crumble away like a fragile sandcastle washed away by the tide. He would cry out in terror from his hospital bed, unable to endure the loss of full control over his own mind, for to him his intellect was the only solid, unbreakable connection linking his soul to the real world. Religious faith, which he had once viewed as unnecessary ignorance, now became his last desperate lifeline. Amid despair, he summoned a priest to his bedside, lowering his proud rational head to seek confession and spiritual solace, searching for compassion and salvation that no mathematical formula, logical proof, or probability calculation could ever explain. This profound inner transformation shocked his colleagues within the scientific community. Yet beneath his cold, composed exterior had always lived a vulnerable child, consumed by fear of the unknown and the endless dark void beyond mortal life. Our story drifts back to that cold winter night in Washington, marking the moment when one of the sharpest minds in human history ceased to think and create forever. What John von Neumann left behind extends far beyond modern computers that reshaped every corner of human life, or the game theory frameworks that rebuilt modern economics and strategic thought. He left behind a profound, timeless fable about the invisible boundaries of human intelligence and rational pursuit. He calculated every complex variable of war, technology, logic, and strategy, yet could never compute the gentle warmth of human affection or the fragile impermanence of mortal life. On this quiet, dust-shrouded night we may find quiet solace within the journey of his life. Even a mind as unparalleled and extraordinary as his still needed a faint glimmer of lamplight to stand against the swallowing darkness of the unknown. It is this very trace of human imperfection that softens his cold, alien-like silhouette, restoring to him the genuine weight, warmth, and vulnerability of being human. The hearth fire of this night is fading slowly. Let go of tangled complex logic and endless rational deduction. Sink into pure simple tranquility and drift into peaceful rest beyond the distant realm of mathematical proof, probability, and calculation. All fear fades away. Every complicated formula dissolves into soft twinkling starlight scattered across the night sky. Good night, John von Neumann, and may you enjoy undisturbed, peaceful dreams through this quiet evening.